nostalgia, memories. Growing up in Central Florida in the 1990s. What a bunch of sappy crap. It's the Sappy Crap Podcast. Starring Steve Bauman and Jarman Day.
Welcome to the Sappy Crap Podcast, where the names are changed, but the stories are real. I'm Jarman.
That's right. Oh, I'm Steve. That's right. The stories are real, or at least how our dusty brains have decided to keep them after all these years. They're legends.
Dusty brains.
Dusty legends.
And what are we talking about this time, Steve?
Well, the day that this is releasing, excitingly enough, is my 35th birthday.
Woohoo!
That's right. July 9th. Something happened a long time ago, and now I'm here.
You don't want to talk about that
so
something?
We decided we're going to talk about birthdays.
And everything we can remember from growing up in the 1990s and all those birthdays we had. It might be some memories back for you guys too. But what is some of the earliest birthdays you can remember, Steve? Anything stand out?
Probably the earliest one I remember was in Staten Island.
Oh,
I remember my parents having like a party outside, and there was no like prior invitations or anything. I remember us just walking around the neighborhood and like gathering neighborhood children.
Come on, let's go.
20 or 30 kids. I'm not kidding, in Staten Island, New York. And so just all these kids I like vaguely knew coming and having cake and that kind of stuff.
Interesting. That was your birthday party in particular.
Oh yeah. It would have been 4 or 5 probably.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember always collecting a bunch of kids, and in school you didn't really know each other necessarily. It didn't matter. You were the same age, so you went to the party. That's just how it works, I guess. You're gonna be finding that out soon. Yeah, and it was just a good place to meet new friends sometimes, but I don't remember too much about those things, except occasionally I would want to bring a gift for one of the girls I liked to her birthday party, and then I got a girl a necklace once in 4th grade. And she didn't know it was from me, so she didn't care. And it was really sad. That's in that story. But
That's fair. She knew deep down. Happy birthday.
Another party, though, that was living infamy that around that age, though, I think I would have been in 3rd grade. I went to a girl came to my birthday party, and her name was Casey Anthony.
Wow.
So if you guys know if out there listening, the Casey Anthony murder trial, Casey Anthony, who's our age, was put on trial for the murder of her infant daughter, Kaylee Anthony. And it was a big thing with Nancy Grace in particular here in the States. But it became an international kind of sensation and tabloid thing because this, attractive young white girl decides that could have killed her, her infant daughter.
Got away with murder.
Yeah, go figure. But yeah, I went to school with that girl, and I was kind of friends with her. We played on the playground and stuff like that, but she was a little odd. And the weirdest thing was that my parents took a video of this birthday party. It was us at this like arcade place where they had pizza and stuff. And my mom forced every kid to say "Happy birthday, Jarman" to the camera. And so it goes over to Casey, and she goes, "Happy birthday, Jarman." It sounds really creepy when she says it.
Good.
But so I used to work at CNN. They were covering the trial at that time while I was working there. And so Nancy Grace was rabid about any footage with Casey Anthony. So I gave that footage to the Nancy Grace team to use, and they actually aired it on television. They blurred out the rest of the kids' faces, but they left in Casey Anthony's face. That was a big birthday party story for me.
Holy Toledo.
And at that same party, though, my dad had hired this guy called Such a Man. He made up his own hero name, but he was like in his 60s. He's like a withering guy. 60s aren't that old, but back then it seemed older. I don't know why. But he also had an original Batmobile replica from the 60s TV show. So he arrived in the 60s Batman car and then came out wearing his Such a Man outfit with a cape and everything. But he also had glasses on. I'm like, I don't remember superheroes wearing glasses, but it happens. So that was that same party.
He just needs his peepers. He needs them to read.
I need my peepers to go solve crimes.
I need my peepers. I can't do my crossword.
Hold on, I'll get to that bank robbery in a minute.
All right, I'm coming.
I'm doing my Sudokus and watching my stories.
Those people will still be murdered when I get there.
Hold your horses. Oh my God.
Let's think. like Florida birthdays
Yeah.
were typically relatively small, couple friends, movie, maybe a sleepover. I remember one of your birthdays we did a sleepover,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always this stigma of who's going to fall asleep first.
You don't want to be that guy.
Because you're going to screw with that person. And I remember there was this poor kid who was even among us was never the most popular of kids. I'll call him James.
Yep. I know who you're talking
And
about.
James fell asleep first. And I remember we took cat food
No.
and we put it in his nose.
Oh, no.
Didn't wake up. And I remember he got a real bad infection.
Oh, no.
Got a real bad infection. He had a big thing on his upper lip for a while. And it took a long time to heal. And that was definitely our due. Like,
That's mean.
I look back and I go, that we were mean.
Somehow I had the feeling I wasn't the one subscribing to doing this or creating that idea. Because
I don't know. There were a lot of ideas thrown around.
you were more the prankster than I was.
No, there was a third party who you were still friends with at the time who was the prankster.
I could see that too. Yeah. And I remember, I think that same kid at a different sleepover, probably because we were being mean to him. He called his parents in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. to pick him up. So
Sounds about right.
I feel bad for that. And because we shouldn't be making fun of anybody or giving them a hard time because we were bullied too. And we shouldn't be doing that. But we had a lot of great sleepovers. And I remember the day my mom saying, "Are you too old for sleepovers now?" Because it was like middle school or something like that. I'm like, no, there's so much fun. Because we just play video games for hours and hours on end.
Oh yeah, there was a while where you and I had a little ritual where like I slept over at your house like every Friday basically.
Oh yeah, your parents probably loved it.
In high school because it was I would go to the football games, you were in band,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would walk from the stadium back to the high school to meet you because you guys would have to like ride buses.
Oh yeah,
And then you'd be getting out of equipment and we'd hang out and we'd just head to your house and I would spend the night.
we play video games till like 2 a.m.
Right. And it was that way for like I feel like basically all of football season.
And so like we weren't too old for it. We're having a good old time. Who cares? It was fine. My 14th birthday was when my dad, my unusual dad, took me and my friends to Hooters.
Yeah.
And
We just didn't know what to do. That was awkward.
it's very awkward. Yeah.
Even now I look back and go, nah, it was awkward.
I've always said that, you know, both a regular attractive waitress at a regular restaurant and a stripper at a strip club makes sense to me because the rules are very clear. If there's an attractive waitress and you don't want to be rude or gross, you don't stare at her, you don't look at her, and you just kind of like maybe can admire her when you can, but just don't be creepy about it. But then in a strip club, you're supposed to look, and that's how they get paid. You're paying to look at them, basically, whether you're comfortable with that or not. Different story. But then at Hooters, it's like this weird middle ground. It's really uncomfortable because they're waitresses, they're not strippers, but it's like they're dressed very scantily on purpose. And it's like, what are we supposed to be doing here? I feel very uncomfortable. So I'm not a fan, but my girlfriend likes Hooters because they're good
gourmet
wings.
hot dog.
What?
You know that gourmet hot dog is just a regular hot dog, and that extra $6 you're paying is to look at.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Like,
at
you
Hooters.
know that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. It's really, they had me do a dance where I had to stand on a chair and throw salt and pepper shakers over my
You had
shoulders.
salt and pepper shakers, and you were supposed to like shake them and kind of boogie.
It was very weird.
It was weird. As someone who was there, I can confirm it was weird.
Not recommended for your 14-year-olds.
Not recommended. No. Your dad was going to turn you into a man yet.
I remember another birthday party I went to when I was younger than that, like maybe, I don't know, 2nd grade, was this place called the Bubble Room in Orlando. And it was a big restaurant, very popular. And so much so that it was featured in the movie Problem Child 2. At one point, you go into that restaurant and there's a heart-shaped
oh, yeah. I remember that.
table, and Gilbert Gottfried is there with, I think, Jennifer Tilly or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And there's trains going above in the ceiling, and now it's a Buca de Beppo, which is, I think, a national chain. But
Yeah.
it used to be that Bubble Room place was crazy. So I had a birthday there once, and it was a lot of fun.
Birthday, I remember, and I remember this one. This one pissed me off.
Pissed you?
It involves you, so it's gonna be real good.
Oh, good.
It's gonna be real good. So there was the summer I was working at camp,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to say it was my 2nd summer, so it would have been my 18th birthday. And I only got 2 weekends off a summer. Like this was camp policy. You got 2 weekends off a summer where you could leave like the county, and it was an insurance thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, well, I had to give one of those weekends up to graduate high school. I remember they would not bend on that.
Oh, gosh.
So I like graduated, had a day, and then had to go to training at camp. So I'd already lost a weekend. I had 1 weekend. I was like, I'm going to spend it on my birthday. I remember I made arrangements with you to come get me when I was done, and we were going to go party and have a real good time.
Sure.
And then, so I'm sitting and you don't show up.
What?
And you don't answer my calls. And I finally get a hold of you like 2 hours after you're supposed to be there. And you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go pick up Kevin and we'll be on our way.
What? How did this happen?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't remember this at all.
And I'm like, so you haven't even left yet? No. So I remember in the time it took for you guys to come get me, I beat Kirby's Dream Land on the NES in the break room.
Nice.
You guys finally get there at like 4. We get back to Orlando at 5. And at this point, I have 16 hours until I have to be back in Lakeland, Florida.
Oh, man. That sucks.
So we partied hard. We did party hard that night.
Oh, that's good.
It was good. But then the issue is we partied really hard and then we slept in until like 2 and then you had to rush me back.
That's
so like
the way it should be.
In total, I had like 4.5 hours of freedom on my birthday. And I remember being so pissed at you.
I don't remember why that happened at all. Probably involving a woman of some sort. It was probably involving a woman. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember just being like, so you haven't left Orlando. All right.
I have zero memory of any of that. That's how bad my brain is. Man.
But we did party hard that night.
That's good.
That did happen.
That's good. I'm glad. At least that happened. Because I'd be pissed at myself otherwise.
We probably drank underage a little bit.
We were just testing the waters on that at that point.
Yeah, we weren't really drinking at that point. And there was no hard alcohol.
It was all wine coolers and Zima.
Wine coolers, occasionally a beer, but like nothing real.
Have you had any surprise birthday parties? Has anyone surprised you with a birthday party?
No.
No?
No, not even once.
Aww.
One time I asked Anna to like plan me a party. I think it was my 23rd or 22nd after college. And she threw it at her apartment with her roommates and they set up beer pong and, oh, this will be a good one. So I went to like a dry university.
Oh God.
And so there were a lot of people that didn't drink and that was fine. I wasn't going to begrudge them that. And so I kept playing beer pong and like taking people that didn't drink as my partners. So I would drink everything. So we're like 3 games in. I am smashed.
That's the way to do it.
Bomb ass smashed playing beer pong. And then my buddy Andy, albino Andy, I'm not kidding, albino Andy, and this girl he was dating at the time, show up and her dad was a huge pot grower. Huge pot grower. And I remember she brought me like a Nerf football sized bag of weed.
Jeez.
So we got on the balcony. And so on top of this really heavy drinking, I start smoking and come back inside and immediately realize it was a terrible idea. Terrible idea. So I remember I'm sitting on the couch and the bathroom was closed and I knew I was going to throw up. I just knew I was going to throw up, but someone was in the bathroom. So I remember just trying to wait and be patient and breathe. There's a part, literally my party going on around me.
Oh, it's your birthday.
And I'm just like, oh God, just keep breathing, Steve. So I see the bathroom door open. I get up, I rush in, and like on the way into the bathroom, I start throwing up.
Oh no.
So I get it on like their bathroom rug, but I get most of it in the toilet. I'm very proud of myself. I get most in the toilet. I feel better though. I'm still pretty messed up, but I remember I grabbing a bunch of toilet paper and like mopping up what I missed and what got on the floor and trying to clean up, like trying to do the right thing.
Of course.
And I remember I got it all over the mat. Okay. So now drunk high Steve. I remember feeling really bad about throwing up on this bath mat because Anna had 2 roommates. So I put it in the front of my shirt and buttoned it up because I was going to take it home and wash it. Like this is the logic of drunk.
I get it.
So now I've got a vomit covered bath mat tucked into the front of my shirt.
God, gross.
And I think I hung out for maybe another 15 minutes and then asked a buddy of mine, Josh, to drive me home.
Well, that's good. That's responsible.
And left my own party because I was just too wasted in so many ways. It was such a bad night.
Well, that was my last birthday party, actually. My 35th. It was still in quarantine, basically. So a bunch of us who were in a quarantine bubble, each one of our birthdays were pretty in quick succession. So we all had a board game day for our birthdays just in the house. And we got to the person whose birthday it was got to pick the board games and the background movies we were watching in the background, which is fun. We did it for all 3 birthdays in a row. But the problem was on mine. It's like, I'm going to pace myself, because I want to be around for the whole night and play games and stay up real late and maybe do some karaoke in the house later. But the problem was they kept feeding me drinks that I wasn't aware of how strong they were. And so I fell asleep at 10:30 p.m. at my own birthday party in my own house. And they went on without me. And then the other guy who's there, it's me, the other guy, my girlfriend and her best friend. He also did the same thing, basically. And we both passed out within 15 minutes of each other. So the girls just stayed up talking late into the night. And I was snoring in the other room.
Happy birthday.
Good night. Going to bed. But yeah, I had that one surprise birthday party, and it was in college with a girl who is very upper crust from a wealthy family.
I think we called her Goldie in the past.
Goldie. We'll call her Goldie. And, I was madly in love with this girl because it was the first, real relationship like that. But, now looking back, I recognize she had no interest in me whatsoever. She thought I was below her, basically. But she threw me a surprise birthday party. And her idea of doing that was at a very fancy French restaurant. So I arrived at this French restaurant. I thought she was just taking me out to dinner, because that's what she likes. But then all my friends are there looking kind of confused, like, oh, we're here. Okay. Like my friends with tattoos and long hair and stuff like that. Like, great. This is just what I would want for my birthday. So that's right. Cool.
Know your audience.
Yeah. Know your audience. I think I had a few birthdays at Qzar, which is a awesome laser tag place when we were growing up.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that place. That's great.
Oh, yeah. I remember they had this deal where basically for the price of 3 games, you could play all night.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Oh, yeah. So we'd get in. We try to get as many games in as we possibly could.
It's covered in sweat and hormones. Terrible. I had 2 birthdays at least at Medieval Times. I love Medieval Times. The cheesiness of it, the food. It's ridiculous and wonderful. Have you ever been to Medieval Times, Steve?
No.
Oh, it's great. Those are adult birthdays I'm talking about. Nothing wrong with that at all. And a local place here by us, I don't know if you have a bar like this where you are. You probably do, but it's called Cloak and Blaster. I've been to 2 birthdays there as well. It's a kind of, it looks like you're into a tavern when you go in, but there's tons and tons of board games. Like we're talking serious board games you rent out with your ID. And you have to have a bar tab running the whole time. They have tons of pub food. The whole upstairs is all video games with tons of couches set up with different gaming systems. And you pay for that by the half hour or something like that.
We do have a place like that called Level Up where they've got arcade and like a standard barcade downstairs, but upstairs like a gaming lounge and that kind of stuff. And it would be so much better, but the food sucks so bad.
Oh, that's too bad.
That we have given up going there because we can't just go there. We have to go there and go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's different. Because we have barcades too, but there's no food there at all at our barcade. So we love Cloak and Blaster because it's more board game based, and there's people playing D&D campaigns there because they have these giant wooden tables for gaming. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, 2 birthdays there.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, wish you could come. I wish you weren't across the United States.
Yeah. Me too.
Oh, wait, our audience doesn't know that. They think we're in the same room together right now.
That's right. We've just a very long room.
We've gotten that comment before. People were surprised to learn that we weren't in the same room recording this.
That's right. We can't even smell each other.
Thank God.
Thank the Lord.
So other birthdays that you can think of, maybe any birthday things you've been to that weren't your birthday that were extremely cool or something?
There was the birthday of my daughter's friends who we went to, like kids' birthday party we went to, where I got there and like one of the highest ranking Apple execs was there with his family at this party.
Wow.
And that was really
Nerve-wracking.
It was really not nerve-wracking, but just like taking it back to be like, oh yeah, they're people.
Yeah, they're real humans.
They have
too.
so much more money than me, but they're people.
That's fair.
That was a little surreal. But no, nothing specific. I can't think of like anyone's birthday party that's like blown me away or.
Well, I missed one that could have been blown me away, which was when I was associate producer for Anderson Cooper's show, working at CNN. I was the only person on the team who's in Atlanta for his show, because Atlanta is where they have all the big video database for all of our old archive video. So basically, they'd use me to go find video, ingest these beta tapes for them, and then send the video to them for the Anderson Cooper show to use later on. So I had to be on call like all the time. And then I'd also cut the show into a podcast at the end of the night. But so they sent everyone on the Anderson Cooper team an invite to his birthday party every year. And the 1 year I was doing that and I got the invitation, I was like, oh shit, but I'm in Atlanta and it's in New York and it's also like an upstate New York and his beautiful mansion. Like I can't.
Right.
And so I had not enough money to fly there and make an excuse to go to upstate New York to go to Anderson Cooper's birthday party. But God, that would have been cool. I had an invitation.
What a story.
Yeah, it would have been a great story. I'm sure Kathy Griffin would have been there and, people.
She loves the free food,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's not popping to mind though other crazy birthdays. But
that just means that our craziest birthdays are yet to come.
That is right, because we're still young. Damn it.
Damn right. I'm only 34. You're old, but I'm still young.
We're still young, and you have lots of great kids' birthday parties to throw now with your children.
That's right. And in fact, my parents come into town in 4 days. Oh God, that's scary to say. Parents come into town in 4 days, and they're coming in for Dilly's first birthday, and it'll also be the first time they're meeting him. So that's the gift in itself. That's
a big occasion, the first meeting.
It's huge.
Well, I'm sure we're forgetting lots of great birthdays and gifts that people gave us along the way, but
oh yeah,
we'll come back to those memories some other time, I'm sure.
So I think that wraps us up. Thank you for joining us. As we go through memories that are getting dustier and dustier, but bringing them out here helps us knock a little bit of that off.
That's right. And we don't know what we're covering next time, but we'll let you know as soon as that episode comes out. But thanks for joining us down this delightful stumble down memory lane.
And remember, the good old days were actually pretty good.
Yeah, they were.
This podcast was brought to you by A Play on Nerds.